Yo, it's your man 100 grand, Ross with the Rock Never Stops. Today, I want to talk to you about a part of basketball, especially the NBA, an entertainment industry, right? They're playing a game for our entertainment, but something that happens very often. Sometimes you have a star that's really bright, and that bright star can detract from other lesser stars, but stars nonetheless. And it's happened all throughout NBA history. I want to go through that in this video. If you enjoy it, smash the like button for me. It's a little thing, but it's a big thing. Hit subscribe and the bell for notifications. Look, let me start off with I'm I started watching the NBA back in like I want to say like 1990, 89, 90. Bulls, Lakers, NBA Finals. And it's funny because you listen to the different narratives that have taken place over time. Narratives that have structured how we view different players throughout different eras based upon who that polarizing star is, right? Nobody was really that good because we looked at Shaq as the beacon. Was good, Adam. Or we looked at Jordan as the beacon. We looked at Magic as the beacon. We looked at LeBron as the beacon. And because guys could not measure up to those kind of archetypes of a superstar, we kind of diminished who they are, right? Because you're not Derrick Rose, you're okay, right? But some of these guys are perennial all stars, nonetheless. I remember when the Portland Trailblazers played the Chicago Bulls in the NBA Finals. You had Clyde the Glide Drexler. He had his own nickname. 10-time All Star, 5-time All NBA. Dragged those Portland teams to the NBA Finals twice before he eventually won it with Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon in Houston. And yet the whole time, because Drexler wasn't Jordan, he was all right. We don't really talk about him when we talk about the greatest shooting guards of all time. We go straight to D Wade. We go straight to Ray Allen, maybe Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, guys like that, Reggie Miller. Clyde the Glide was smashing on most of them, right? Clyde was able to do things that I don't even think Kobe was able to do, right? Kobe never got to an NBA Finals without another All Star. Drexler did it twice, playing with Kevin Duckworth and Kevin Porter and Cliff Robinson and Buck Williams and those guys, Danny Ainge, right? He never All Star. He didn't have a guy really carrying the load. It was him and a bunch of friends, right? Now, same thing happened during the Tim Duncan era. You had Tim Duncan, and because guys weren't Tim Duncan, maybe KG was loud and he was, able to garner a lot of attention. But you also had guys like Jermaine O'Neal, you had Chris Webber, you had other really good power forwards. It was kind of a power forward golden era, if we're honest. And yet, if you couldn't beat Tim Duncan, you were just good, cool, right? Could the same thing happen to Cade Cunningham in this era? When Cade came into the NBA, he came in with a lot of comparisons to Luka Doncic. And I think rightly so in a lot of ways. A 6'7" guard who wasn't necessarily an explosive athlete, but scored most off of skill, footwork, agility, timing, pace, uh, great handle, finishing ability, shooting range, all these different things. And the potential to be able to be the cornerstone of an offense, someone you can build a potential contender around. And through those comparisons, especially early in his career when his team wasn't really winning, it was easy to kind of overlook him. And then he got injured in his second year, so he got overlooked even more. But then you had his breakout year. That was also in conjunction with kind of a step back year from Luka Doncic. He had just gone to the NBA Finals where he didn't look very good. Kind of got worked over by the Boston Celtics. And then there was some injuries, couldn't make it back throughout the West Conference playoffs. And so it was kind of a short run for Luka last season. Then he got traded to the Los Angeles Lakers. And now he's in La La Land, but, still kind of meandering underneath LeBron's shadow. And then you have Cade Cunningham, the Detroit Pistons. They have their breakout year. Triple their win score, their win total from the previous season. Get up to 44 wins. First round of the playoffs. And here comes an all-NBA Cade Cunningham. Luka doesn't. I don't even think he makes All NBA because I don't think he played enough games. Either way, Luka's still Luka. Now all of a sudden you got SKINNY-Luka. Yeah. Now, this is an interactive live, so I'm going to respond to some of these chats here. Yeah, Weber was really good, especially before those injuries. It's going to be tough for Cade. With Luka, he's probably not going to score 33 points per game. He's not going to average 8 rebounds, but he can be a higher assist, better shooting version of him. But you know what? That's the thing. This is where it can help and hurt. Is that the comparison game is going to be heavy. It's going to be heavy. And when I think about what this upcoming season can look like, I think both of them are going to have major years. But there's going to be a lot of overlap. It's going to be tough for us to, one, tell them apart in a lot of ways in terms of the style of play and the uh, types of winning that they are able to impact their teams with. Cade does play defense, and I think that that is a designated factor. And at the same time, both of them are going to have a very similar style of play. The only thing is, Luka plays in LA. He plays in a major market, not just a big market, the second largest market in the country, Los Angeles. And he's playing with probably the greatest media superstar the NBA has ever seen, maybe aside from Michael Jordan. But he's right there. And then you have Cade in Detroit. Now, here's the thing. One thing I do love about this dynamic that could create a rivalry is that Detroit has always been kind of a nemesis for the Lakers. They've always been a nemesis for the big market teams, whether it's beating Magic, beating Bird, going through everyone else that they thought should have been able to knock them off. 76ers with Dr. J, eventually Moses Malone, Charles Barkley. Right? It didn't matter who they had to go through. Clyde Drexler and the Portland Trail Blazers. They were able to get it done. And this is kind of where I center this conversation. Cade is going to have to beat Luka. SGA is more of a quiet superstar, and he's in Oklahoma City. It's not hard to get just as much or more shine because Detroit's a bigger market. They have a history of winning. They have a pedigree of winning championships. OKC barely got here. You think Cooper Flag got that much hype? He was a different. I mean, Cooper Flag is what Cooper Flag is. I think he's going to be a good player. He got a lot of hype for the reasons he got a lot of hype. But we'll see. Now he's got to put up. He's got to show it. But here's the thing. Luka and Cade are going to have one of those, I think, friendly rivalries that's going to be beefed up by the media. Cade is going to have to go into Los Angeles, into Staples. I think it's now, what's the name of that arena now? Something else. Bitcoin, something like that. I don't know. Something arena. But he's going to have to go into La La Land, and he's going to have to beat Luka. He's going to have to beat Luka. Because if he can't, he is going to be overshadowed by him constantly. And I mean constantly. Luka right now is the bigger superstar. Period. Period. Cade just got on the scene, and he's putting up numbers that Luka has been putting up. Let me just pull up the stat line really quick. So I want us to have this for comparison's sake so we can have an understanding of what this conversation is centering on. Being overshadowed is real. Cade Cunningham last season averaged, pull it up, at 22, 23 years old, 26 points, 6 rebounds, 9 assists. His shooting splits were okay. We're okay. He played 70 games, which is great for the first time. He shot 47% from the field, 35.6% from the three-point line. I think that goes up this year. But he also had 4.4 turnovers. Now let's pull up Luka real quick. Currently playing for the Lakers, Luka Doncic. Averaged 28 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. 28 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. That's what Luka did last season on a down year. Only played 50 games. But here's the thing. He's been putting up 28 points or better. This is crazy. 8 or more rebounds. 8 or more 7 assists since his sophomore year. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years. 6 of his past years. He's been averaging 28, 8, and 8. And he got to the NBA Finals. Western Conference Finals. So I think what we have to contend with is that Luka has been the superstar that Cade is trying to get to. That Cade is trying to get to. Luka's been that. And for Cade to set himself apart, he is going to have to not just beat Luka. He's going to have to get into the playoffs and have a run. He is going to have to drag that eye of the media into Detroit. Say, look at what I'm doing. Not just the numbers I'm putting up. But we're having 50-win seasons because that's what Luka was able to do in Dallas. Now, I will say this. Dallas set Luka up a little bit better. They surrounded him with veterans from day one. From day one. It's something that I much malign most of these franchises with. When you have a young superstar, you don't put a bunch of young guys around them. I know the idea is they can learn and grow slowly at the same time. That's BS. It's lazy. That thinking is like the Danny Ainge, hey, let's just compile a whole bunch of young talent and then we'll re-sign them and we'll have a super team. That shit is rare, bro. It's rare. Rarely ever happens like that. That whole OKC, Kevin Durant, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, that shit is rare, bro. It's rare. That's not how most teams win. Most teams win because they draft and develop. They bring in guys who are winners. They get strong, steady coaching, organizational support and stability, and then they take the jumps. They take the steps. With Luka, Dallas surrounded him with veterans from day one. And he was able to take those steps quickly. Guys who knew how to play off of him, move without the ball, cut at the right time when he would get bogged down or pressured too much at half court. Guys who were able to rebound the ball effectively, spread the court. Guys who had a high basketball IQ, playing around him maximized his skills. Something I always said if they did with Trae Young would have probably been all NBA for a long time now. Cade Cunningham, also, as soon as we started putting more veterans who could stay healthy around him, all of a sudden he looked really good. Tobias Harris, Tim Hardaway Jr., Malik Beasley, Paul Reed. All of a sudden he looks really good, Dennis Schroeder. But that's what it takes to win. And so hopefully Cade Cunningham can separate himself from Luka a little bit, especially now that you got SKINNY-Luka. Because SKINNY-Luka, if you look at rookie Luka, he was a different type of problem. He was a different type of problem. He wasn't just the problem that could go out there and get buckets on you. Remember, this is his 28 points. What is this? 9 rebounds, 9 assists season in his sophomore year. 21.7 rebounds, 6 assists as a rookie. SKINNY-Luka was masterful out there. Surgical out there. SKINNY-Luka looks a whole lot more like Cade today. I don't think he's as athletic, but his quicks, his movements were that much more effective. Now, I'm not saying he stopped being effective. He went on to stay in the MVP candidacy, goes on to average 27.7, 28.4, 32.4, 33.9, 28.2, 28.1. You know, that's what Luka does. Cade is going to have to stay close, but most importantly, he's going to have to beat Luka to get from under that shadow and to begin to designate himself as just as much of an MVP candidate. Because the thing is, both of them can't win it, and that might be obvious. But the guy who's been in the running for the past 5, 6 years is likely going to get the nod. The guy who's in La La Land is probably going to get the nod. Cade has to go into Los Angeles and beat Luka. And when Luka comes to Detroit, he's got to beat Luka. Otherwise, he'll forever be compared to him and fall just shy of that level of greatness. But as always, I want to know what you all think. I'm going to post the video. Definitely like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Drop some comments on there if you want. Yeah. Those who watch it to the end of the video, put like 2 basketballs next to your comment. And I'm going to respond to those first. But as always, it's your man 100 Grand Ross with The Rock Never Stops. Enjoy your summer. Stay safe. Try new things. Life is short. Live it to the fullest.